Hey guys, Mauro here. Welcome to my third podcast. Yesterday was the final of the Australian Open 2018. I'm sure most of you have seen it between Djokovic and Nadal. And I wanted to go a little bit through. I like to take notes throughout the match of things that, in this case, what Nadal was doing or could have done, and well, just in general, the things that the reason why I think Djokovic, um, well, he beat Nadal in his 3 sets. I don't want to say he destroyed, but the truth is that that was a pretty comfortable win for him, and I it's a lot of points to go through, but I'm just gonna try to go like I'm gonna try to go fast through and go a little slower on the few points that I think are really really important. The first thing that I know, the first thing I want to talk about is that everybody, or not everybody, a lot of people expect this match to be tight, close, and the truth is that Nadal is coming back from a lot of months from not playing. This was his first tournament actually playing, if I'm not wrong, this year. He actually had to pull out from previous tournament he was going to play in preparation for Australia. So just from the start, I kind of thought that he was looking he was playing very well throughout the whole tournament, and he was looking really good. But Djokovic was looking good, and if you know the background, Djokovic's background, his history is that the guy's playing well, and when he's playing well, you have to really pay attention not only to his game but the mentality that he has. I truly believe that right in this moment, Djokovic mindset is just superior to Nadal and Federer and anybody else on the tour, just the way it was back in 2011 and 12 and 13 when he was doing really well. It's just the guy has already been there at the level where, you cannot say this about any other player on the tour, but he's the only one guy that at a moment, he's two moments in time, he has said, Nadal and Federer, I have him in my pocket. They might beat him every now and then, especially talking. I think Federer has a better chance. Nadal, I think that I have thoughts for years that there is something deeper than just the game when Nadal and Djokovic play. To me, Djokovic mentally has. There is something psychological, and there is also the fact that Djokovic. I think that Djokovic just knows how to control better Nadal's games than Federer. But we'll go through that a little bit later. Okay, so on the sixth game of the third set, there was a game that was pretty tight. If I'm not wrong, Djokovic was serving, and Nadal could have broken there. That was a very mental game. If the sixth game, I think it was 3-2. I think it was 3-2. Djokovic up or Nadal up. I don't know, but what I remember is that it was a long game, and it was. It probably was the first time in the match that it seemed like Nadal could crack the code. Like he could do something about, he could, like, if he would have won that game, even though in the score it probably wouldn't have seemed like huge. I think he was going to go up for two. But, well, regardless of that, it just seems, as a tennis player, that there are games that we play that you say that was a mental game. That might have not been a very important game regarding the score, but that was definitely an emotional and mental game that that you would have won or lost the game. The psychological charge, the psychological part of it would have been huge. Sometimes it's a game that we're serving or we're receiving, but it's it just turns out into a very important game. And in this case, Djokovic ended up winning the game. But I think that at that point, that could have been something that would have given mentally a good boost to Nadal. But in the end, the game was gone. So things just happened, second set just kept going. Nadal, among the things that you could tell that Nadal didn't know what to do. That's one thing. At least I personally, I noticed that it seemed like, to me, like Nadal just didn't know what to do, because one, Djokovic was playing real well, and the second one is that I'm a Federer fan, but I really like Nadal. I really, really like Nadal, but I have always thought that Nadal's game is with all the improvements that he has done, it's still somewhat limited. And when I say somewhat limited, I don't see when I'm talking specifically when he needs to look very aggressive. He's really out of his comfort zone when he has to pull the trigger early. Like the transition that Federer did on his game from always being aggressive, but in the past when he was younger, being able to rally and being patient, waiting for the right shot to put away, then he caught that. He said, okay, now I'm going to limit my rallies, if possible, to 3 or 4 shots, and that's it. And he was able to do that because he was used to be aggressive. The only thing that he did is like no more rallies anymore. Just move right away, move inside the court, step inside the court, and get on shots that in the past you probably would have stepped back a little bit and just play the ball back and wait for another chance. Well, on this one, instead of moving back and wait for the chance, move forward, get the ball on the rise, and be more aggressive. Of course, it's more risky, but it was an easier transition for him. Nadal, getting older, he has to become. That's one of the reasons why he became more aggressive, and he changed his serve a little bit, which I've seen a couple of. By the way, I've seen a couple of people trying to explain on the what he did on his serve, and the way I see it is very simple. He just he's not lifting this elbow anymore. He's just waiting down here and then going, kind of like Verdasco kind of style of serve, and it's working for him. But anyways, because of Nadal's style of game, it's more difficult when you're the kind of player that is more used to win with heavy spin and working more, working the point. You're working your opponent, and then all of a sudden you say, you know what? I'm not getting younger. I have to be more aggressive, and you're getting out of the comfort zone, and you haven't done it before. Doesn't mean that he cannot do it. Of course he can do it. I mean, he can hit the ball hard from forehand and backhand. From both wings, but don't think of it physically or technically. This is mentally. He's not used to that. He's just not used to being more aggressive. So he could have, one thing that I think that he could have done, I really didn't see doing that. I might be wrong, but I didn't really see him like getting closer to the service line when Djokovic was serving or during the rallies. A lot of rallies, I will see him, I guess because of the way he developed, he will be moving back right away. But you got to, when that's happening, well, that means that you have to start a point more aggressive. That's going to take a little bit of risk, but then again, you got to change things. If you're going to change the transition from being a more regular, ordinary, or defensive player to more aggressive, well, that means that you have to have 2 words in your mind. First strike. And first strike is going to get you off the comfort zone, but you got to do it. Too bad. You have to learn. That's how you're going to make that transition. You got to stick to it. It's not going to happen in the first week or the first month, but you just got to stick to it. And little by little, you start messing up, and you start losing, but you start finding out every now and then you're going to make the shot right, and we're going to see what happens, that it works well. And that's going to help you. And when it doesn't help you and you lose the points, what happens is you just start creating that thick skin on you. In the beginning, it hurts. Oh my God, shit, that didn't go well. Again and again and again. You just stick to it, and you're gonna notice. You know what? Don't take it seriously. You're gonna get to the point where you're like, it's not that bad. I mean, I just gotta stick to it. You know, I already missed 25. Well, might as well keep going, you know? So that's how you gotta do it. And you start forming that crocodile thick skin, and you say, it's not the end of the world when I miss that much. And you're gonna be in the, it's not the end of the world when I miss that much, just for a period of time. Little by little, once you transcend, you're beyond that, you start saying, it's not that bad, man. I'm starting to see results. I'm starting to feeling better. And when you start feeling better, when you start not letting it get to you, you start. That's when you're not paying attention to making the shot, to the result. You start relaxing a little more, and that's when you're gonna start seeing results. But it's little by little. You gotta go through that. It's not that bad, and creating that crocodile skin first, or shark skin. You know, that is. It doesn't penetrate. You just start forming that. And you only get that messing up with failure. So that's a difficult thing for Nadal. But I think I wish he could do it. I wish he would do it even more, because he's a powerful guy. He still moves very well, and that will really help his game. I could tell that he was not sure when to pull the trigger. That's exactly what I just meant in the last 3 minutes. I could see Nadal that there were many times when he could have pulled the trigger, and he wasn't sure. Why? Because he's not used to that. He's just not used to that. It was. I think that he tried to make Djokovic play more when Djokovic was serving. But the truth is that Djokovic's serve is very underrated. He's got a really good serve, but people don't see it because it doesn't look like Cilic serving, or like Karlovic, or like Isner or Curry. People don't think that it's like that big of a serve. It is. And if you have seen the guy playing live, it's a huge serve. And it's not only the fact that it's not the speed, guys. It's the good servers, the good players, that the players throughout history that are good servers and they have results, meaning they win slams. It haven't been booming serves like Isner or Query. It's been guys that serve with a percentage a little lower than that, but lower enough so they can move the ball around, like Sampras and Becker. As simple as that. Okay, Djokovic focused on getting the ball on time so he could hit it in his strike zone, not letting it get higher than his shoulders. Yeah, Djokovic, you could tell that the guy was moving. He wants to get to the ball in the strike zone, meaning he's gonna get to that ball in your torso if possible, shoulder to hips. So when he knows that when he gets to the ball, he moves quickly. When he gets to the ball in that strike zone, he knows he's gonna make a good shot. He's gonna be able to dictate, or if he's in trouble, he's gonna be able to make a pretty good a good defending shot. He's not just gonna play it back. And that's one thing. That's one thing that I would like Nadal to see. Thinking, okay, you know what? I'm gonna move so everything that I hit is around my stomach, or more like my chest or shoulder height, more like kind of chest high, I would say. So instead of moving those shots that you see that he's moving back, well, move diagonally, try to cut it short. Again, it's more risky, but get that ball on the rise. He can do it. He can do it. I've seen him hit plenty of shots like that. It's just a change. It's a psychological upset that is stopping him from doing that. And yeah, because Djokovic was hitting that ball so well in the strike zone, well, he gets Nadal off balance. That's why the guy started so. That's why Nadal didn't get. I mean, he looked like he didn't know what to do in the first 3-4 games. It's not that he was. I don't think he was nervous. I think the guy was. He was just like. He was not getting any rhythm with the game that Djokovic came up right away. Boom, boom, boom. You know. He was like, wow, you know, he walked into the room and right away a shootout started. So he didn't know how to respond because it was Djokovic just playing very well. And everything that Nadal was throwing at him, Djokovic was bringing, you know, he was just firing back with shots that Nadal just couldn't handle. And I heard somebody say, oh, you know what? Sometimes a lot of players, when they start a match, they're super nervous. That's probably what happened to Nadal, and it's true. Sometimes it's true. But one thing that I can tell you is this. This is true. I think this is true too. In the beginning of the match is when most players, at least like professional players, and this is one tip that can help you guys that play like beginners and intermediate. It's in the beginning of the match when you try to. That's why it's so important that you have to be mentally ready before you get into the court. Don't just get into the court, warm up, and start. 10 minutes before you start, you gotta take your time, start warming up, and mentally you gotta be ready on fire and say, if the other guy serves, and right away, boom, you're gonna jump on it, because that's probably the best chance you're gonna have to break the other guy's serve the very first time he serves. Because he's still kind of warming up, because he still doesn't know very well how he's going to be serving, how you're going to be returning. He doesn't know he's going to be in a sucky day or a good one. He doesn't know if you're going to be on a good day or a bad one. So I would say most tennis players, ATP players, on that first game, they throw everything there because they know that, especially when the other guy is serving, they know that is the best chance many times to break the serve, especially when they know they're playing a good server. This is probably my best chance just starting. And if they're serving, they try to win their game in a dominant position, because you're also sending the message like, I'm ready and I'm on fire. So that's what happened to Nadal. I just think that he walked into the room and the room was already set on fire. He didn't know what to do. He just didn't have the response in those initial games. One thing that happens to Nadal when he finds himself in those situations is that he starts spinning too much, meaning he starts the forehand, meaning he starts putting too much spin on it, and that shot starts going short. Now, a lot of players on the tour, most players, they don't care about that, because that ball bounces on the middle of the court. It can bounce close to the service line, and it still picks up pretty much, a lot, and even if there is players that they could move forward and attack it, they're just intimidated. They just don't read the ball. They don't read the bounce. They don't read the shot. Djokovic does. That's why he's number one. That's one of the difference. That's one of the subtle differences that are really big in the moment in a match like this. He reads Nadal's ball very well, and he notices when that ball is short, and he steps forward, and he really loads it. He's not intimidated by that forehand, so he knows perfectly when that forehand is kind of he's getting defensive, he's getting protective. That means he's mentally getting a little, he's a little bit thrown back there. So he moves, he starts, he moves towards that ball and attacks, and that's and I want you to pay attention to that when you see Nadal playing many times, many shots that he makes, they bounce close to the baseline. That is just that ball bounces really high. So that's why I was saying, you move forward, you try to get that ball before your shoulders or your head height. Okay. Another thing is Nadal's high forehands to Djokovic backhand, it just doesn't hurt Djokovic, period. One thing is because he doesn't let it get too high, and the second one is just because he just knows that Nadal does it all the time. So it doesn't matter how effective it is against other players. Djokovic knows he does it, and he controls that thing better. One of the things is having a two-handed backhand. Well, that helps him a lot. Nadal's backhand is really good. He's usually really good, especially when he's on the run going cross-court, and that wasn't hurting Djokovic, again, because I think that he knew what he was going to do. He knows his game very well, and he reads it much better than most players. Djokovic serve. If you notice in my last podcast, I was mentioning something that even if you know that the other guy has a good forehand, sometimes you go for that forehand to attack him, and that kind of throws people back. Like, wow, I didn't expect this guy to attack my main weapon. Well, that's exactly what Djokovic was doing. Every time he was in trouble, he will serve to Nadal's forehand, because he knows that he trusts that his serve. He say, if my serve is on fire, it's gonna be better than your forehand on fire, or I just trust my good serve to be better than your good forehand, and he did it a lot of times, and he ended up winning the points, especially when he was down in this court. You can tell that Djokovic is more loose, much more relaxed playing. That's something that, well, he goes because he played more tournaments and he had much match play this year. That's why I think that the good thing about Nadal in this is that he made it to the final and he played very well. He's gonna he didn't play at a level that was good enough to beat Djokovic, but I think that with more matches in his pocket, by the time the French arrives, he's gonna be in a much better position. Now, Djokovic he sent a very loud and clear warning, saying, you know what, if you don't really raise your game for the French, it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be really difficult for you to win, on clay. So and I'm sure Nadal he got the message. But again, I think that Nadal he's in a very high level right now. But I'm sure that by the French is gonna be in a better, especially physically, recovering and playing defensive and moving more. I'm sure he's gonna try to move more forward, be more aggressive. Probably won't do it on clay. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does it eventually for the rest of the year after the French. So yeah, that's one thing that I noticed, that whatever plan Nadal had, Djokovic didn't allow him to relax or apply his game plan. That's the thing that I'm saying. When you start a game, when you start a match, you gotta go all guns blazing. Doesn't mean that you gotta go out there and just punch and hit super hard everything. No, but you got to put all the intensity. You gotta send that message like, you know what, I'm ready and I'm on fire. And many times you don't give rhythm to the guy. You don't let the guy relax. Right away he's like, oh my God, So it's that's so important of starting with so much intensity right away when you when you start your matches, whether you're serving or you see receiving. That another thing is what I say about Nadal, and he's gonna get better to the French. That's good. Now the bad thing is that just when you think that Djokovic cannot play any better, he brings it up a notch. Just when everybody thinks that this guy cannot get any better, the guy shows us that he can get better. Not only that he can get faster and he still has the mobility and he still has the amazing defensive game, but the guy can even become more aggressive than he was before, which he wasn't super aggressive, but now he's becoming more aggressive. One thing that I think that one of the reasons why I think Djokovic has improved his game is that the guy is good listening at the things that he needs to improve. His coach told the story about a long time ago. I mean, many years ago. He's saying, you know what, we had a talk, and he said, I told Novak the story that he didn't want to hear. Like, okay, you gotta do this and this and this with your game because you're not doing that. You're not good at that. And no player, we hate when people tell us, you know what, you got a really good forehand and I love your serve, but your slice is not good, man. That just pay attention to that. A friend can tell you that, like, good, man, but you're doing well. And he walked away and you're like, fuck off. I mean, we don't like it. But what I heard is that Djokovic is good at absorbing that information. He might not like it, but we need it. And if you're good at, paying attention to the things that people say, sometimes, well, don't take it personal. Just pay attention to it. Is it true? We know if it's true or not deep inside. So, yeah, well, the French Open is gonna be slower, and it's gonna be really interesting to see what kind of game. I think Djokovic is not gonna change a lot his game. He's still gonna be aggressive. I don't think that, even though he's moving very well and he's not as old as Federer, I think that his matches are getting shorter. He's shortening the points too. He's not just, he knows that he can rally, but he knows that he can be aggressive too. He doesn't have to depend on his speed or his defense skills. So if he's becoming more aggressive, so I think that's one thing to really, that is gonna be, Nadal and Federer should be really concerned, because to me he seems like he's like becoming more aggressive. So a guy that is exceptionally good being defensive, and now he's finding out that he can be exceptionally good being aggressive. Those are major words. So lot of the one thing that I noticed too is that Djokovic gets a lot of free points in the serve with his serve. And Nadal, even though he improved his serve and he was serving better now, but he never gets free points against Djokovic. He never does. He knows that every time he serves, he's gonna have to grind it. He's gonna have to fight it. So that's one thing that is gonna be, you know, when you have to fight for every single point and you're not getting anything for free, it's demoralizing, especially when you used to have, you know, when you play other guys and you always get at least 1 or 2 points per game. Well, you play a guy that hits everything back and doesn't give you any points. It's hard. It's hard to keep it up. So I think Nadal is serving better. He's good, but I would like to see a little more variation. I think him hitting harder, but I want to see him moving the ball a little more, and that will probably help. And you just add both. You add power and add more variety to the serve. Now another thing, and I think that one of the most important thing is that Novak had a confidence that comes from knowing how to play Rafa, who knew how to play Novak long time ago. And I mean, Novak knows how to play Rafa nowadays. I mean, for a while, for several years. If you see the record and who has won the last 20 matches, and I mean, it's just, I'm not exactly what the record is, but it's just outstanding. I think Djokovic has lost probably twice or 3 times. And I think that Djokovic knows how to play Rafa, and Rafa doesn't know how to play Djokovic. It gives me the idea, Djokovic is hitting more aggressive and flatter. He's not hitting as many angles anymore. And Rafa doesn't know how to play. It's like up till last year, you knew that Rafa knew very well. You know that Rafa knew very well that how to play Roger, and then he lost to him all 4 matches last year. And I don't think it's that the Rafa doesn't know how to play Roger anymore. It's just that Roger improved his game, you know. But the idea that I've had for a while is that when Rafa and Novak step onto the court, it seems to me like Novak has the idea like I know how to handle this guy, and Rafa doesn't really know. He has tried and he has changed and shifted and moved and tweaked and moved this and that, and it just doesn't work. I mean, for years he's been trying to find a way to get back at Djokovic consistently, but he just can't find a way. So it seems to me that on one side you have a guy that is a worker, that is like one of those bees that work all the time, and on the other side you have the queen bee that she's just like there chilling there, you know. And the truth is that, well, there is nothing Rafa can do but keep doing the same thing. You just gotta keep doing the same thing. You just gotta keep knocking on doors and trying to find a way to be that guy. All right, guys. Well, I hope you like it. Give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Bye.